This is Real to Real Podcast. Real stories, real sports. And here's your host, Wube Gabre.
Welcome to season 3 of Real to Real. And look, man, I told y'all I was coming. And this next guest, before I move on, though, this next guest called me out. And I felt so bad because I looked at his resume and I'm like, why haven't I had him on the show, man? He called me out on social media, so we got him on now, bro. But he's a Newport News Native, graduate of Norfolk State, but whole degree in gold. He's coached 42 Division I All-Americans, 29, listen to this, 29 MEAC Championships, 4 MEAC Hall of Famers, 5 Olympians. He was inducted into the Newport News Track and Field Hall of Fame. He's currently the director of cross country and track and field at what some people say the real HU, Hampton University. Look, man, I'm embarrassed not getting you on early, but hey, it's better late than never, bro. I got you on, Mr. Maurice Pierce. Coach, thanks, man. Thanks for having me, man. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, man, I appreciate it, man. Listen, I didn't mean to call you out.
That's on me.
Hey, look, I was like, yo, man, I'm trying to get on the show.
Hey, man, I appreciate that, though. That's love, though, man. But,
yeah,
you know, man, you got so much going on. I mentioned a few things, and there's so much more to mention that I didn't get into. We're gonna get into all that in a minute, but just talk about you growing up in the East End of Newport News. You know, it's well documented that a lot of great athletes have come from that area, but just talk about growing up in the East End of Newport News, Coach.
You know what? Like you said, it's well documented. I'm a proud Newport News guy.
Yeah.
Right. I grew up in the East End. For a small period of time, people don't know, I went to elementary school for 2 years in Hampton.
Okay.
I don't know what happened. My mother moved and we
came back. Yeah.
Yeah, the Newport News.
Yeah.
Moved and came back.
Yeah.
So, but the majority of the time it was in Newport News.
Okay.
And all over the place, but primarily I grew up in a place. I don't know if you're familiar with it, Woodsong Apartments.
Okay, I've heard of it.
Yeah. You know, back in the early '80s, late '70s, it was called Chantilly Apartments, and they changed the name to Woodsong Apartments, and it was, it has its reputation.
Yeah.
The reputation preceded it, and the thing about it is it's no longer there. It's right beside where Achievable Dream School is on Marshall Avenue.
Okay. I know exactly what that is. Okay, yeah.
Right beside there's a church there now. I think it's Macedonia or something. It's 2 churches actually back to back. So in that area right there, that's where the apartments were. So I spent 10, 11, maybe 11 or 12 years living there. I went through middle school there and high school while we were there. And then when I was little, in our first stint in Newport News. And then like the majority of my family from the East End. So I'm an East End guy. I'm a Newport News guy. Whatever you want to call the city right now, bad news, good news, whatever you want to call it.
They got all different. They all different kind of names for that area, man. And let me ask you this, Coach. Like when you growing up in that environment, like you said, man, it's got a reputation for good and bad, for how you want to use it. But what were your aspirations? I mean, growing up in that area, you probably just thought about just having fun as a kid, but did you think about sports? I mean, were you playing sports at that time growing up in the East End?
Yeah, growing up at that time, you're talking about when I was a kid. So you're talking about late 70s or really all through the 80s.
Right.
So if you talk about rec league, middle school and high school, that's all I did. That's all I knew.
Right.
And all of my friends and everybody in the neighborhoods and surrounding neighborhoods, everybody that was into sports.
Mm-hmm.
And if you weren't into sports, people kind of looked at you like something was wrong.
For sure.
Right. And it didn't matter what sport it was.
Just something, the ball or something. Yeah.
Right. That was like the norm.
Yeah.
If you didn't, it was like, whoa, something wrong with that guy. But I I did it all. I played rec league football.
Mm-hmm.
I played rec league basketball.
Mm-hmm.
When I got to high school, I just did track and football.
Okay.
But my first 2 years, I was so crazy. I was still playing rec league basketball, doing indoor track season. So
double duty there. Double duty.
Yeah. So that was just the norm, though. Everybody just played sports, kept on playing sports, and and that was my MO.
Yeah.
Everybody knew me as an athlete. I think I was a good athlete. And so that was my MO. They know Maurice was an athlete. Yep. When I got old, everybody knew me. That's the track guy. That's the track guy. That's the track guy.
Yep.
But just like I said, just growing up in Newport News, that was the norm.
Yep.
Newport News Parks and Recreation.
That's
I
it.
played on phenomenal rec league teams. Parkview Rec League is no longer there. I had the privilege of playing on those teams for 2 years. And then I transitioned to Huntington. Huntington Middle School at that time had some sports.
Right.
They had basketball and track, and that's when I started flirting around with track. And then it just carried on to Warwick High School with football and track.
So when did you talked about all the different sports, and we got to Warwick, it was track and football. So when did you realize, okay, track's gonna be my way out of here, and track's gonna be my way to college? Was it a situation where it just happened, or you just kind of just went all the way through high school and it just ended up when you got to college?
No, what happened was when I got to Warwick High School, the Warwick was always known for great athletic teams.
Yep, for sure.
And in particular, the three sports: football, basketball, track, and field.
Right.
And so I just, I got in where I fit in.
Right.
Played JV football, played varsity football, but then it got to the point where, at some point, you got to realize what's your ticket.
Exactly.
And I spent more time training harder for track because I knew like track would be the ticket. I was a good football athlete, but football, you don't have to like train as hard as you have to train for track.
People don't understand that, man. It's like, man, it's different. It's different training.
It's a whole nother world.
Yeah.
So my energy, even though I love football,
right.
Number one, my sport I love from day one. But at some point, I understood that it takes a whole lot more dedication to the sport of football, and then there's so many people fighting for the small amount of scholarships,
right,
or avenues to open up for them. And so I said, well, you know what? I love football, but let me turn a little bit more energy into track and field, because track and field could be my ticket.
Right.
And so it worked out.
Yeah, it definitely worked out. We're gonna get into that in a minute, but after Warwick, man, you had a decision to make on going to college. Why did you pick Norfolk State? It's across the water. I mean, the track team back then, from what I remember, was pretty decent. So,
yeah.
What was the decision behind going to Norfolk State for track?
Well, a couple of reasons. One, I had a couple of other classmates of mine, from Norfolk State, and some friends of mine within the Peninsula District,
right,
that went to Norfolk State and graduated the same year I went. So it was maybe like two guys from Bethel, another guy from Phoebus. One of my friends, Marlon Hooker, at Warwick, football and track guy, he decided he was going to. So we just, it became like a group thing. Like, everybody, we're going to go to Norfolk. And I was recruited by mainly like all the black schools on the East Coast.
Okay.
So I had scholarships at several CIAA schools.
Right.
So I had some pickings, but I also understood that at that time, I didn't do the necessary stuff I needed to do to get the highest of SAT scores.
Yeah.
And Lord knows my mother wasn't gonna let me go to no junior college way out in Kansas.
She won't having that.
No, so me and my coaches at Warwick, two of them were Norfolk State graduates.
Okay.
And we sat down and they said, Maurice, this is the best situation. So it was the best situation for me academically and athletically.
Nice.
And like I said, a lot of my friends from Warwick, and one of my good friends, and some of the friends within the Peninsula District that I knew, had already went there or were going there at the same time. So a whole lot of familiarity was there.
Oh, absolutely.
And plus, they had a good track team too.
Yeah,
so the track team was good also.
They were always been good. They even good now. So
Norfolk always been on a good track team.
Always good, man. Always good. Coach Giles, right? Coach Giles over there.
Yeah, Kenny Giles.
Yep. Kenny Giles. Yep. So you get there, Coach. Were you overwhelmed? I mean, you've played sports your whole life. You're competitive. When you get there, I'm sure you had to see that it was a different level. So what was it like when you got there and you actually on the team?
Well, unfortunately, my freshman year I had to sit out.
Okay.
So it was Prop 48, so I had to sit out my freshman year.
Okay.
And so my freshman year gave me a real eye opener into really the amount of talent that was sitting there.
I know it's crazy. Yeah.
And also within the CIAA at that time.
Yeah.
Because St. Augustine was still a powerhouse. Yep. And Hampton University had some good teams. So I had to really like change some things. I was always a hard worker. but I had to take it up to a whole nother level and stay committed to the sport in the year that I could not participate. And like I said, it was already some guys that was extremely, extremely, extremely fast, guys that could run. So I said, you know what, I got to stay in shape this year, my freshman year, that I can't run. So my sophomore year, I could just find a way to fit in.
Fit in, yeah.
So I found a way to fit in, and then you know, I was able to run. So I ran 2 out of the 4 years at Norfolk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was just so much talent just sitting there.
Oh man, I'm back. Oh my gosh. Oh, like you said, CIAA was loaded back then, and then
it was crazy.
Of course, they branched off after that. But so after your career, coach, when did you start thinking about coaching? Was it while you were at Norfolk State, or was it just something that you developed after you graduated?
No, it was during the time when I was at Norfolk State, and let me tell you why. Because when I was at Norfolk State, I probably didn't do everything that I was supposed to do.
Okay.
In terms of trying to matriculate as a good athlete and as a good student.
Right.
No, I wavered somewhere in between that.
Yeah, man, we all go through that. Yeah.
I was having too much fun. I was just all over the place. And so notice I said I ran 2.
Right.
And so then one time, you know, I really had to buckle down. And then I realized maybe like my senior year, I was like, you know what? I had a golden opportunity here, and I let it slip just a little bit. But now it's time for me to turn this energy into something else to get my reward for what I didn't do when I was supposed to do it. So that's how I got into coaching.
Okay.
I was still a track guy.
Yeah.
And so I didn't have any more eligibility left. And so the women's track coach, Coach Laverne Sweat, she needed some help.
Okay.
Right? She needed some help. I needed something to do. Because remember, I still had a semester left in school.
Okay.
And so I became a student assistant to her. She gave me a stopwatch and she said, come to the track. And it was on after that. And so my mentality was, if I can't run fast or get to the level that I want to get to, the Olympic level, I'm going to train somebody to that level.
There you go.
And I'm going to get the same glory.
Right.
And so that's why I put all my energy and passion into coaching. And it started right on that campus because some of the guys that were extremely good friends of mine were still on the team, and they were like world-class sprinters.
Yeah.
And so I jumped on board with that, and then it just took off from there. But I think coaching was already in me before you. Yeah. Because people could say when I was younger, say, Maurice always trying to tell people what to do or getting on somebody for not training hard. So
that was just that bug. That was that bug.
Yeah. So I think I landed where I was supposed to be.
Right.
And if I look back on it, Norfolk State was where I was supposed to be. That's why I ended up coaching in the situation that I was in.
And listen, man, the success you've had, man. I talked about all the All-Americans. You got MEAC Hall of Famers. You got All-Americans. You were 3-time Big South Coach of the Year. You went to what? UMES, Norfolk State first, then UMES. Now you're at HU. Talk about that. I mean, listen, bro. Like I told you off camera, I knew you were nice, man. But when I read your bio, I was like, man, I had no idea this much success was coming right around the corner in the 757 at Hampton. But you talked about putting your energy into making somebody else an Olympian, making somebody else a Hall of Famer, making somebody else an all world track star. So talk about some of that success, man, that you've had. I mean, I know you in the moment and you grinding, but like people like us looking at your success, it's amazing to us. But just talk a little bit about that, man. You got Francina McCrory. I saw you had Jerome, my man, the football player. He's a MEAC All-American. Yeah. From Petersburg. You got a lot of great talent that you coached. During your tenure at HU.
Well, you know what, man? Listen, I tell people all the time. Listen, man, I've been extremely blessed to be around phenomenal coaches,
right,
and to be blessed to be around phenomenal athletes,
right,
when I was young, and it just kept on going. And so, because I surrounded myself, or I was blessed to be around these great people, it just rubbed off on me. So I knew automatically that one, nobody was going to outcoach me,
right,
and two, I was going to continue to work hard, and so I worked so hard, and I recruited the best people. And I recruited people that some of the bigger schools went after, and I went after them too. And so we got on the road, right? And it started when I was at Norfolk State because we were winning there. And then I went to Maryland to show for that 1 year, and then I left and came back home.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got to Hampton, I came as an assistant coach.
Right.
And the lady basically turned the program over to me. Right. And so I took it from there, and I just I was all in. I dove in, I outworked everybody, I recruited everybody, long nights, long drives. I was going to get any and everybody to come to this program because Hampton University had already had a successful women's program prior.
Yes.
But then it wavered somewhere.
It did.
It got kind of like stagnated, maybe in the mid-90s. It got stagnated.
Right. Yep.
And so I said, you know what? Sorry, a well-known school. They had a great program before. Let's just piggyback on and get it back going.
Let's get it back.
So,
Let's get it back. Yeah.
So my job was to get it back. And then when I got it back,
took off from there, bro.
Took off because people remember the friends and the people that I was around at Norfolk State, all the Olympians, the world-class athletes. And they was like, man, can you coach me? So it really started with a guy named James Carter back in 2000. And James, 1999. And James made the 2000 Olympic team. In the 400 meter hurdles for the U.S. came in 4th place. So it really started with James as my first Olympian. And then next thing I know, here comes another Olympian. Then I had, I recruited the great Yvette Lewis there. I had Kelly Wells.
Kelly Wells from Richmond. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And then, then like I said, Jerome Mathis came there to play football, but he also ran track.
Man, that man he was a track guy playing football, basically. I mean, you could see him on the football field, yeah. Yeah.
And so it seemed like maybe like every Olympic year, which is every 4 years,
right?
I was able to do two things. One, I was able to get these phenomenal college athletes to come run at Hampton, and we won championships. But also then every 4 year, I put somebody on the Olympic team. And 90% of the people I put on the Olympic team were Hampton University athletes. I put some people on Olympic teams from other places, but 90% of my Olympians are Hamptonians.
That's crazy. I read that. I read about that. Yeah. I mean, how does you said you put all your energy, but like sitting back and you watching them in the Olympics, or even if you have a chance to go to the Olympics, how does that make you feel, man? Like, I mean, you got to be pitching yourself saying, look, I coach these athletes and now they're at the highest level at their sport. I mean, that's got to make you feel proud, obviously, but just what are some of your emotions when you kind of see that hard work pay off?
Well, one, to make the United States Olympic team, which is the hardest team to make.
Oh, I'm sure. Yes, sir.
Everybody around the world knows that, right? It's probably the U.S. team, then Jamaica, and then probably like Great Britain or it used to be Russia.
Yeah.
But the U.S. team is the hardest team to make. And if you make the United States Olympic team, your percentage or chances to make the finals at the Olympic Games is higher than most people around the world.
For sure. Yep.
So therefore, if you get a person that makes the team, you got to kind of like toot your own horn, but like, you know what, I did that.
You have to, man. It's got to be some kind of feeling in your soul as you thinking to yourself, man, that's part of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's part of me. It's part of the hard work and the hard labor.
Yeah, for sure.
Then when you get there, and I again was blessed. Every person that I had at the Olympic Games, except for the past Olympics, they either got a medal or they made the finals.
Okay, yeah.
And so if only 2% of the world makes the Olympics, then that means only 2% of the coaches around the world can coach an Olympian. Right?
That's a good way of putting it. That's a good way of putting it.
Right. So
that's a good way of brag, but no, man. Hey, this is why. Listen, this is why, man. This is why you here, man.
Because we're gonna keep it real. I'm gonna put myself in that 2%.
You have to. You have to, bro. You have to.
Because that's like being the starting quarterback in the Super Bowl.
Thank you.
Because the Olympics.
Only 2% can make it. Yeah.
And think about it. People don't understand. The Olympics only come every 4 years.
4 years, right.
Right. And so what happens is now if you get a person that made 2 Olympic teams, you know how much dedication and focus they got to stay on within the 4 years to get to the next one?
A lot.
Yeah.
You got your world championships and everything to qualify, but
you got the world championship in between.
Yeah, in between, yeah.
But sometimes people forget that you were also a world champion. All they remember is that you were an Olympian.
Olympian, yeah.
Yeah. And if you were an Olympian, you will always be an Olympian. Nobody can ever take that from you. So just like if I coach an Olympic athlete, I'm always going to be an Olympic level coach.
You are.
Right.
For sure.
I just need some more going forward.
Yeah, you got. I'm sure you got some in the pipeline coming.
Yeah, I'm gonna find somebody. I don't care where they come from, but I'm gonna find
You
something.
gonna find somebody. Hey man, it's been great, man. We're gonna end it with this segment called "Keeping It Real," bro. I just throw some quick hitters at you, kind of some of the stuff you talked about, but I'm gonna put you on the spot on a couple of them. See how you react to it, though. You ready for this?
I'm ready, baby.
All right, let's do it. Out of all those things I read, the championships, the All Americans, the Hall of Fame inductees, what's the one thing that kind of stands out? The one that you kind of think to yourself, yeah, that's probably the best thing I've done.
Probably when Francina McCoy broke, she won the NCAA championship, but also in that same one race, she won the NC2A title. She broke the collegiate record, and she broke the American indoor record.
Wow.
So that's the
So that's the one where you think of yourself, yeah, that's top. That's none can top that at that point. Yeah, that's
because she went on and she got 2 Olympic medals on a relay, and she was like one of the world's best at that time, top 5 in the world. But to be able to accomplish those 3 things in one track meet at the highest collegiate level is just slim to none.
And I remember when she came out of Bethel, when she signed with Hampton, it was like a huge article, it was a huge deal to her to stay at home, and you to get her to stay at home, man. That was dope, man. That was dope. Yeah. All right, man. Your top 5 track athletes of all time.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back, but whatever you got.
I'm gonna give you my top 5.
Okay, go ahead. What you got?
Carl Lewis. Well, Carl Lewis is number 1 to me. I'm gonna stop.
Yeah. I gotta have him. I had him too. Yep.
Okay, I got it. Let me see. Jackie Jonah Kersey.
Thank you.
Edwin Moses.
3. Yep.
Carl Lewis. Of course, Usain Bolt.
Gotta put Bolt in there. Got one more.
I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna say the great Tommy Smith from 1968.
That's a legend.
That guy could run anything from 100 meters to 400 meters, and he broke a world record one time at 400 meters, while he was a 200-meter sprinter. Wow. And he revolutionized, and this stance that they made puts him in that for sure. Puts him in that category.
Yeah, you have to. That's a good list. Yeah. That's a good list, Coach. All right, this might hurt some feelings, but this is part of the show, man. We're gonna have some fun with it. You got to come up with a relay team, right?
Yeah.
And this is based on the athletes that you only coached.
Right.
You got a relay team for a gold medal. Who you taking on that track, bro? Who you taking? Come on, man. What you got?
Only ones I coached? Only
ones you coach. You got to have a relay team to win a gold medal.
Out of my Hampton athletes.
Or any athlete you coached.
Female or male?
Female. It could be female or male.
I'm gonna say, you know what? I'm gonna say female.
Okay, female. Okay.
That I coached.
Okay. Who you got leading off?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, you got to have a strong person. So I had a young lady named Chloe Davis who was an NCAA All-American in 400 hurdles.
See, and that's what I love about this, because not many people might not know who she is.
Yeah, she was
All-American. She All-American.
She was All-American in 2003. She was Hampton University's first Division I female All-American.
See what I'm saying?
So I got to lead off with her.
Okay.
Then I got to put two gangsters in the middle.
Who you got?
I got to put Kelly Wells. And Yvette Lewis. Even though they don't run the 4x4, but they're gonna bring it home for you. They got enough talent, Yeah. So, then of course I got Francina McCoy.
She gonna be the anchor. She gonna clean it up. Yeah.
She'll be the anchor on the men's team. So it's
she would amazing. We were watching her on Olympics cheering like she was a part of our family. Yeah. That's a good list too, man. Hey, two good lists. Two good lists.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, man. Me and you about the same age, so I would love to hear this answer. An album that you listen to with no skips.
With no skips.
You let it run.
Probably what's Jay-Z's first album.
Oh, Reasonable Doubt.
Reasonable Doubt.
Yeah, let that run. Let that run.
Yeah, I can let Reasonable Doubt.
You can let that run.
I can let it run all day long.
You can let that run.
I can let it run in the car, at the airport, wherever.
Everywhere. You don't even got to skip it. Just let that thing run.
Let that Reasonable Doubt run.
That's what's up, man. That's a good answer too, man. Some good answers on this part. All right, man. Last one for you, Coach. Your recruiting pitch, something that you keep in your back pocket. I mean, I know it's easy because you're coaching all these All-American and Hall of Famers. But what's your pitch and your recruiting tool that you put in your back pocket when you trying to get a recruit on campus?
Wow. I tell them straight up. I said, look, either you want to be the opening act or the headliner.
Woo, that's clean. That's clean.
Hey, look, we got a whole lot of opening acts running around here. But
That's clean. I love that one.
You come to Hampton, you're gonna be the headliner.
You're
gonna be Diana Ross. Everybody else is Supremes.
Man, that's dope right there. That's clean.
So that's it right there.
That's clean.
That's what I tell them for real.
And look, it worked because you're getting them all.
Listen, every female I know, they want to be the headliner.
They got to be.
Yep. Yeah. They don't want to be the opening act.
All right, last one, Coach. And this is something that I want you to really talk about. You were inducted, like I mentioned before, you were inducted to your hometown's track Hall of Fame, man. What did that mean? A guy from the East End to be recognized by his hometown, to be considered a Hall of Famer in track.
It was very emotional. It was an emotional day, because they put it all into one category. Right? My success as a track athlete in high school, and then my success coaching, being from Newport News, right? And so that just means that I followed in the footsteps of some outstanding people, because they've had some outstanding track athletes in Newport News, and in particular at Warwick High School some years ago, like Kerry Wooden, KK Wooden, Greg Hatchett, and those guys. But if anybody knows the history of Newport News track, it's a little different now, but the history of it, and so to put my name on the wall with those phenomenal coaches and athletes that come through the amazing city of Newport News is very, very, very emotional. Yeah, and I put that at probably one of the highest levels of everything I've achieved so far.
It's got to be humbling. It's always good when your hometown recognizes you. You know what I mean? That's dope, man. Hey, look, man. Thanks. Hey, look. I just want to say thanks for calling me out, bro, because we needed this. We needed this, Coach. We needed this conversation, and we also needed this because I want track to get some head. I mean, it's track season right now. Whether it's high school, college. We want to get some of the some love to the track, and it couldn't be any other way. But besides having one of the best coaches, not only in the area but in the nation, man. Because everything you've done for this area, a lot of people don't recognize it, and I just want people to hear your story, man. So that's on you. Thanks for calling me out and say, hey, look, what about me? I'm a legend in the area. You got to get me on.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna put it out there. And man. I appreciate you, because we need more stuff like this anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
And this is a real conversation. It ain't just like no pencil and pen.
Oh no, this is real.
So you know what? Deion Sanders was on 60 Minutes, so I can tell everybody I was on your show.
This is real to real. Yeah, it's something close to that. Yeah,
that's right, man. We're on our way.
We're on our way, Coach. Man, I appreciate it, Coach. I'm gonna let you know when this post, bro, and
okay.
We're gonna have everybody watching this thing, man, and everybody appreciate what you're doing, and I appreciate what you're doing, just putting Hampton on the map. Just every time I see you grinding, and just keep doing what you're doing, Coach.
I appreciate you, man.
All right, man. I'll talk to you soon, bro.
Okay, be good.
All right, thanks, man.